So, like I said earlier, my name is Daniela Valenzuela. I am the Early Learning Coordinator at PBS SoCal. And I do have a background working in college and career advising, both with parents and with high school students, junior high, and elementary school students. And I am a mom of two beautiful girls. They are 3 and 5. Um, and they are at the point where they have all the feelings happening at the moment. So I love having conversations with you guys because not only am I teaching, but I'm also learning from you guys, what to do with my kids. So please share any tips in the chat. No, I'm kidding. But if you do, let me know. But I do have two girls, and as I go through this presentation, I'm also learning ways how to work with them. So I'm learning just like you guys. We're all learning together. That's the beauty of this, right? So I wanted to check in with you guys in a bit, and we're going to talk about shapes and spatial reasoning. I'm going to do a quick activity at the end, and then I'm going to share additional resources, and then we'll have some time for a Q&A, okay? So before we get started, I want to let us know how you're doing. In the chat or in the poll, there we go. Are you feeling a little bit Daniel Tiger? You're excited. It's math talk, or you're being a little concerned, trying to call your people. Are you Houston? Like, I don't know what's happening. Are you a little bit frustrated, like Arthur? Or are you a little more Elmo, Carly? You need a hug. I know with social distancing, it's hard to get that physical, love, hugs from our friends and whatnot. But let us know how you're doing today. We see a lot of Daniel Tiger. You guys are excited, happy, right? My daughter would have chose all of them.
We have an overwhelming amount of Daniel Tiger, so that's good. That's a positive thing. I'm glad.
Yes. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you guys are doing well. And if you need a hug, we'll send you a virtual hug. Okay. Do you want to share the poll or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I got to keep everybody else in mind as well, because not all of us are Daniel Tigers, and that's okay. This is a safe space. We're glad you're here. So yeah, thank you guys for sharing, for checking in. So here at PBS SoCal, our mission is to foster love of learning, culture, community, using the power of public media. What does that mean? Not just television, right? But we do apps. We're in the community, right? We're technology on your phone, on your computer, but we're also in the community. We're at libraries, schools, community centers. Obviously, not at this moment, but we want to be in the community. We like to be with families. We're not just on air, but we try to embody and give the needs to what our community wants. Right? We're happy to be here, and I want to ask you guys a question. You can on the chat. Let me know. Let's think about how you use math in your everyday life. Let me know. I'll say it in Spanish. Quiero que me expliquen cómo usan las matemáticas en su vida diaria. Si me puede escribir ahí en el chat. Puede contar. Piense, think about how you use math in your everyday life. I don't know if anybody wants to share on the chat.
Somebody, Ava said counting money. Maria said cocinando, so cooking. Ileana said baking and cooking, counting vegetables while cooking.
Yeah, those are all good ideas. See, you guys are already experts in math. We're done. This is it.
Somebody else said, cuando llegan, oh wait, the chat's going. It says, cuando llegan los niños, contamos a cada uno. So when the kids arrive, we count together.
It's importante, okay. That's important.
Reviewing our Outlook calendar.
I thought she meant counting the kids. Yo pensaba
What?
que dijo que contaba a los niños para ver si los tenía todos. No, cuentan, okay? Cuentan con los niños, okay?
Let's see, sorting laundry, counting my steps, weighing, measuring, counting while washing our hands, paying bills.
Right. Those are all great ways that we already use math in our daily life, sometimes without even thinking about it. Right. Sometimes it's natural to us when like, yeah, balancing your checkbook, understanding sports, music, that's all amazing. Like um we're already doing math, right? When we talk about time, right? When we wake up in the morning and we have to go to school, go to work, we calculate, we have to wake up at a certain time because we have to get to work at a certain time. That's math. When we calculate the distance, right? How far you have to drive, that is also math. Maybe in LA, when you're driving from, one point to another, that's, you're counting for more for time than for distance because 3 miles can take you a very long time, right? So, that's all math. You have to do these calculations. Maybe you're not sitting down writing out the calculations, right, by hand, but you're already making, you know, um, those equations in your mind when you're cooking. You have to know how long it's going to take, right? Like all these things, they're things that we're doing. And but how do we teach our little ones? And but when I mean little ones, I'm talking about our babies, our toddlers. What How do we teach them? Um, so when we introduce math, I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth. When we introduce math to your child, right? We're talking about young children, newborn to pre-kinder for this session, right? We teach them numbers, geometric shapes, measurements, and patterns, and it has to be fun, right? I cannot sit my 3-year-old daughter and have her do a worksheet with me because that's not going to be fun, right? And if you have kids at home and you're doing packets right now, right, that's like the funnest thing for them to do. I mean, they have to do it, but it's not the funnest thing, right? Math is done in a fun way when you're planting a seed, right? Like how far away do we have to plant them, right? When you're walking up and down the stairs, right? I remember doing this with my child, with my daughter, when we would start from the very top, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just start counting. And if we would forget, sometimes she'd say, "Let's go back up," and I'm like, "Oh, okay," and then she would sometimes automatically start counting on her own. And this is at 2 or 3 years old, right? They're understanding and they're listening to you uh, with these statements. When you point out geometric shapes, right? That's a circle, that's a square, that's round, that's a triangle. They will know, and they, even though they may not speak it well yet, but all these things they're memorizing, they're learning, and they're capturing all these things, but always with the intention of making it fun, playing, playing, playing. You guys, I couldn't, emphasize it more. It's playing. They love to play, and that's how toddlers learn, right? They're learning how to play. So we're going to share a little bit about our learning goals for kindergarten students, right? In kindergarten, they're learning geometric shapes, they're learning geometry, and that might seem like, oh my gosh, that's math isn't just numbers, it's also shapes, right? Um, they learn how to identify shapes in kindergarten, by kindergarten, right? They describe the positions of the object. So is it on top? Is it above, below, beside, in front of, behind, or next to? That's spatial sense, right? And also, I also tagged the Common Core math content for you guys as well. They're also learning how to name the shapes regardless of the size, right, or orientation. And they model shapes in the world by building shapes from components. So, for example, if you give them a square and a triangle, what can you make with that? A house, maybe, right? Or if you give them two squares, you can make a rectangle, right? My daughter I didn't bring the drawing, but she drew in her preschool class. It was a triangle and a circle on top of each other, and that was in her ice cream cone. So that was like nice to see. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's doing, she's building other things using, and drawing shapes. So that's really exciting just to watch them do that. So these are some basic geometric shapes, right? You might think, well, these are really basic. Why do I need to know these? No, I'm kidding. But so the top ones here, right? You have the circle, the rectangle, the triangle, and the square. These are really good ones to start off with your little ones, right? But if you want to get a little more not complicated, but elevate their vocabulary, you can start using words like the pentagon, the hexagon. Oops, guys, I'm sorry. Right, and the rhombus, not diamond in the sky, but it's a rhombus. You call it what it is, right? And then if you want to take it an extra step, you can start asking questions like, which shape here doesn't have sides? And then you let them answer, right? So which shape here doesn't have sides? The circle, right? Or you can ask questions like, which shape has 3 sides? And then they can ask, they can respond, right? Or which one has 4 corners? And they can, start, so you ask questions so they can start thinking about which ones of these shapes. And another thing you can do, right, is, for example, like, Daniela, this is, I don't have time to be asking questions, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm doing all these things, right? But there'll be a time where you're sitting in the waiting room at the doctor's office, right, for the annual checkup, which we all love. And you can ask questions like, what shapes, let's pretend you're in the waiting room right now, right? You're in a room, and can you tell us in the chat, what shapes do you see around you, and what is it? What do you see around you? Can you put up in the chat? Let me know. What do you see? What shapes do you see, and what is it? I don't know if you can, Stephanie, if you can read them out loud to me.
All right, I think everyone's still getting to the chat. Me and Isaac see squares, rectangles.
And what is it though? What do you see?
Our computer screens.
A heart.
Whiteboard. Isaac said a heart.
That's a good one.
Okay, let's see. We have their TV. It's a rectangle. The desktop screen, rectangle. Circle, square for picture frame, a ball,
right?
That's a circle.
Yeah, and then another thing you can do is ask, how many do you see, right? So how many circles do you see? Like the pizza, it's almost lunchtime. Like, how many do you see, right? You can ask your child, okay, so you see a rectangle, you see a circle, let's count them, right? And then you start counting the circles in the room that you're in, so you don't even need any materials, but you're already, having your little brains think like, whoa, there, that is a circle. I didn't know. That doorknob, wow, it is a circle. The balloon, yes, at the doctor's at the end when they're done. But those are questions that you can ask your child to get them, to get them thinking of what, of shapes and counting, and maybe even patterns, right? Do you notice a pattern? Like, well, how do I explain a pattern, right? They know patterns, but they in kindergarten they're learning about patterns, and sometimes like their clothes have a pattern, right? Like green stripes, right, or like hearts. That's another way that you can talk about patterns with your child. And then, yeah, any questions on this? No, we'll leave them at the end. I forgot about the Q&A at the end. But we're gonna jump on to the spatial sense. What is spatial sense? Spatial sense to me, when I learning about spatial sense, I'm like, I didn't even know that I did this, and we all do this, but we don't maybe necessarily have a name to it, right? But I'll read it really quick. It says, spatial ability is the capacity to understand and remember their relative position among objects. Okay, so above, below, in front, below, or beside, behind, or next to. And when we're describing an object to our child, we have to, or we should, you ask them to get the ball that's under the table, right? So they know that under is a position, right? It's relative to where they're at. When they're learning how to walk, they don't necessarily have that spatial sense because they still trip over objects, right? They don't know to put their little foot above the object to step over it, right? So they're learning this, but you and I, as adults, we already have that spatial sense, and sometimes I'll give you an example. When we're turning into a parking spot, right? Do you get off your car and measure your car and then measure the parking space? How many of you guys do that? No, right? None of us get off. I don't even have a measuring tape in my car, but when we're turning into a parking spot, you automatically know if your car is going to fit or not, right? Like, am I going to make this turn? Am I going to fit into this parking space? Especially if you have a really big car, like you kind of already gauge it, right? So that's spatial sense when you're, you already have a relative, understanding of the space, right? And then your object relative to you, right? So that's spatial sense. When you're shopping at the grocery store, you're gonna again turn your little cart onto the aisle. Are you gonna hit, the corner? Like you already know. So these are things that we're already doing, right? But just when we are teaching our kids, right, how to do it, we have to describe it to them. Is it in front of you, right? Can you grab the basket that's behind you, right? Can you go get the red shoe that is on top of the XYZ, right? So always describing these positions. And then we're gonna go ahead and do an activity with you guys, but before we do, I'm gonna show you guys a quick video. I'm gonna show it. Give me a second. So I get this. Oh, no, not this video. Let me see. While we wait for it.
So like Daniela was saying, shapes and spatial reasoning. So this is something that for us as adults, we are, we're used to it, we don't know, but for young children, getting them to understand that is really critical. And I think also, a lot of you were providers and early childcare learning professionals. And so how do we help parents also understand this? How do we help parents know that they can be doing some of these things at home? Like you mentioned at the beginning, so many wonderful ideas of how they can do math. And so with this activity, sort of has some of the shapes and some of the spatial reasoning that they can do and they can use to have fun in math. And so this is a really, really simple activity that you can do with your students, or that you can share with families to do at home. Whenever we've done this, Daniela's always in the community and they love it whenever she has on the opportunity to do the activity. So really quickly, how are some ways that you can see yourself using this and teaching? And Daniela will show some of that, but all of you I know are also working with children, and I'm loving all the ideas that you're having. So how can you see yourself using this activity to model that with your students or with your children? And you can type that in the chat. I saw some comments that said, qué constructiva actividad. So I'm so glad, Maria, me da mucho gusto que le guste la actividad. Shapes while playing, yes. So one of the things that Daniela mentioned at the beginning also was that kids like to have fun, and we believe a lot on playful learning experiences, and we believe in making learning fun so that they can enjoy it and they can also want to learn. Like Daniela was saying with her 3-year-old, when if you do like a worksheet or an activity, she probably wouldn't be super excited. But when she's done this activity, you get to involve them. They get to practice their motor skills as they're cutting. They also get to have that interaction with the parent or with other students. And so actually, Daniela's going to show us a little bit of how you can help families model this as well, so they can learn how to do this at home. And
somebody made a really interesting comment, Francis. Somebody said they took the same activity and did it with numbers because they were doing numbers at the time. So that's really cool.
I love that. And I think that's one of the great things that you can take any activity and teach multiple things. You can, like Daniela was saying, you can use shapes, and as you're trying to look around what shapes you find, you can also practice counting, and you can add other terms like spatial reasoning, and giving parents that vocabulary and giving children that vocabulary as well. And then I see a comment in Spanish. Esta actividad puede ser usada en familia. Creo que en tiempo en familia puede ser adaptada para que el niño haga una parte individualmente y luego tomar turnos. Yes, so this comment saying that this is an activity you can do as a family, and then they can take turns doing together. So a child can do one part and the parent can do another part. And really, whenever we think of these types of activities, we're always thinking of how we can make this intergenerational. So you can have also like older siblings helping out, and you can have grandma helping out. I know Daniela has trained some grandmothers as well that have come to the workshops, and they love getting creative and getting crafty and doing something that's like a project. There's something so powerful when you empower someone with something that they can make, something that's tangible, and that they can take home and also practice with their children. So I don't know if anyone had a chance to make this activity and if you have it with you, but I know Daniela put something together. So if you can share with us what you have.
Yeah, and really quickly before we jump into that, Martha made a really good point. She said right now with social distancing practices, it's really important that, we follow that, especially in our childcare facilities. And so she was saying how this activity could be adapted for the children to do them individually, and for us to be thinking about like, how can we engage the children and still have them learn throughout the day while still practicing social distancing. So thank you for that.
Definitely. Please keep sharing. I think, like Daniela mentioned, we're all sort of learning together, and no one knows how to do virtual learning or this is a whole new situation no one was prepared for. And so I think we really, when we come together and when we share ideas and when we hear, because all of you are also experts and you've been working with young children. And so I think when we all come together and kind of share is when we really can have something really powerful happen. I'm gonna turn it over so you can show us.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, thank you guys for all your insights. So try to create a shape mobile for you guys, trying to use things that I have here at home. And I reached out to my daughter's crayon box, and of course, all the crayons are broken and there's paper, missing on the crayon. So that's typical, and that's okay. Or the point is that, we have to, we get to show families that they can do this with whatever you have at home. It doesn't have, you don't have to buy any fancy materials or, go out of your way. Stuff that you already have at home. I don't have to go buy anything. I did have some yarn, right? But I decided to use, what is this string called for making bows? And oh, let me see. Did I stop sharing my screen?
Daniela, I stopped sharing your screen just so we could see you bigger.
Oh, okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you go back to the?
Okay. You go ahead. Go ahead. Perfect.
TV bigger too. So I picked up some stickers, right? These are shapes, right? I have some circles, have some hearts, and then I had my daughter, my 3-year-old, just because my 5-year-old thinks she can do everything already, but I wanted to see how my 3-year-old. Sometimes I don't get to see all her little talents, and I had her draw a circle. So you guys can see it's not the best circle, but I had her do it. I didn't tell her it was wrong. Actually, back here I did. But I let her do her little circle, however she felt, and then I also let her cut it. You can tell I gave her she used these scissors, right? These little scissors with her little tiny hands, and she was able to. It might be too sharp. You guys are educators. I don't know if they would have these at school, but I had these at home. Don't tell on me. I'm just kidding. These are fine. She was able to use these and cut, her little circle. It wasn't the best, but I never telling her that she did it wrong or it doesn't look pretty. But here she noticed that it wasn't a circle because she loves to draw squares. And I said, no, let's draw a circle. So she fixed it, and then her name is Celia. So it starts with the letter C. So we went, we said, what is this? I wrote it out for her, and she knew that this was her letter, right? So I wrote it out for her, and this is also a way to let them recognize letters and what it looks like. And like one of you guys said, numbers is also a good one. So you can draw your shapes in either any paper. We have flashcards. I had some paper, and she was able to draw them. But you can also draw some numbers on there using dots, right? So that's 3 because she's 3 years old. So, this is another way for them to recognize numbers, right? So you can I used a regular paper plate. Usually for our in-person presentation, we use a little bowl, but I didn't have bowls. So I just had a little plate, and you can see in the video, they didn't even use the plate. It was just a regular cardboard. And I tried decorating it. So you can, if you guys have these and these are circled, these dot markers, right? You can use this, or you can decorate. You guys can do a better job than this. I'm just you draw it with shapes, right? You draw some shapes on here. The tape here was here, so I got my little tape got messed up. But then you can add some of the stickers to it. And I personally like to add them at the bottom because then you could see it from the bottom. Sometimes you can't see the top, but anyway. And then I made some holes on here. So as you're cutting, as you're having them cut the shapes and the taping, you can have them tape the shapes. I'm just using regular tape, but if you have some washi tape, it's a little cute little, I'm just gonna, you guys saw in the video, just tape them, nothing crazy, right? And then have them try to help you with putting them in the right. Or they use their little tongue muscles. So when they right, trying to put this in here, and then have them tape it, and then once it's complete, then it's like the perfect segue to start asking questions, which is what we want. It's not necessarily to make a super fancy art project, right? But like you guys were saying, it's family time. It's question time, we're talking, siblings get involved because maybe your 1-year-old cannot cut, but your 1-year-old can try to to make a shape, right? A circle. My daughter says, what does she say? She says, círculo, palito y círculo in Spanish. A little circle and the line, circle and line. I did, it has 4 little shapes. You guys see them? Oh my gosh. You can ask questions, right? Which shape is the above the oval? Which shape is above the oval? Can you tell me? The rectangle, right? And it also has patterns. What are the patterns? The patterns are squares, right? White, blue. Or like which shape has 3 sides? Let's count the shapes, right? And the sides, 1, 2, 3. It's really simple, right? Doesn't have to be super fancy. I'm not that extra, so this is what I have for you guys. But you can use anything you have at home. That's kind of the goal for us, that you can use what you have at home to create patterns, to create shapes, to draw and have fun and play. Yeah, I think I forgot my square, but that's.
Somebody made a really interesting comment, like when you were asking, what shapes are on top of each. So they gave real life examples, like the oval, Martha said, like would be an egg, or like the rectangle a window, the triangle a pizza, like something they can put into context. So
Exactly. So when you're cooking with them, right, it's not just, we're gonna make an egg. It's what shape is the egg, right? That's perfect. You give them life, like you said, in person, like life examples, right? That was a perfect example with the egg, because it's not just, we're scrambling eggs or we're making eggs, but what shape is the egg? What color is the egg? And that's, that's important too. That's really, really a good way to show them an example of things that they have. And then it gets messy. But anyway, anybody have any other questions regarding how you would, or maybe like you can give us an idea, how would you use this with your parents, or in your center, in your classroom, your students.
I see a comment here that someone incorporated numbers and letters. So I think, again, with these activities, what's great is that you can always expand and that you can sort of customize it to what meets the learning goal. This is just like an easy, fun activity you can use to introduce shapes or help reinforce that, and also spatial reasoning. But then you can expand. And if you want to add counting, if you want to add letters, if you want to make it more of an art project, you can do that and make it more, add more things to it. So it can be as easy as you want it, or you can add as much as you could need. And the kids love it. They love getting creative whenever we have done the activity. And then I think just remembering and reminding the parents with that vocabulary and remembering, so not just the art project, but just keeping in mind that, we're trying to teach shapes for all the little ones. If you have older siblings, and then they can help and they can get more advanced, you can throw in a pentagon or a hexagon, and you can throw in other shapes there. But I hope you guys like this activity. If you do it, please send photos. And if you have any other comments here, I love that. I'm reading some of the comments that you have. There's language. You can also add language, yes.
Yeah, I had another experience this past week. At the very beginning of our stay-at-home order, I was, okay, we gotta do something. So I was like baking and it was fun. But then like now I'm just like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with baking. Like so at first I was like doing cookies from scratch, and we were having all that fun with math. And this past week I was like, okay, I'm done. Like I just need something quick. So I bought frozen cookies, right? Like, just to easily bake the cookies. And the cookies were square. They were in a square, like little packet, right? And I had my daughters put them, on the baking sheet. And then my daughter said, why are they, por qué están cuadrados? Like, why are they squared? Because she knew that a galleta es un círculo. she knew that a cookie, you know, a chocolate chip cookie is round, right? So she said, por qué está cuadrado? And I said, oh, you know, I missed that little opportunity, you know, and she brought it up on her own. So I was really proud mom moment. At the same time, I was like, oh, this is a perfect activity. So I said, what do you think it's going to come out? Do you think it's going to come out like a circle, or do you think it's going to come out like a square when it's done baking? And we had a little nice conversation about, she said, you know, esta tiene ángulos, like this one has angles. And I was like, wow, okay. Yes, it does have angles. It's a little refresher of like, oh man, this quarantine, like even though, you know, we think we're not, you know, we're not going to school, but they're still learning, and you know, these are fun little ways that they learn. So like Francis said, please send us pictures if you do this with any of your families, or your families, and if you know, show them the video, provide it to them in an email or a text message, however we're going to send you the link to the video as well. But if they have any photos, email them to us to familymath at pmgsocal.org, and might send them a little goodie bag for their kids. So please encourage them to send us photos as well. And then can we go to the next slide, Stephanie? Yeah, so we also have game-based learning. So online, this is one of our, I can't click on it, but let me see, Stephanie. So we encourage you to also play games on your phone, right? Sometimes like it's too much time that they spend on their phone, but with our apps and our games, you know, you're guaranteed a safe space. You're guaranteed some learning as well, not just, you know, watching videos, but they're actually doing things. And this is a perfect game. This is a pet plus cat game where they can learn how to do shapes and have fun with this game. I know my daughters really love this game. Can we go to the next slide? Yes, and then these are additional resources for you guys. You have PBS Kids, where we have some of the episodes, some small videos, quick videos. We have games. We have activities also that you can pull from there, right? And the PBS Kids app. Again, that's on your phone, and then you can watch live TV. You can watch some of the episodes that we have. PBS Parents, and PBS Parents, we also have a lot of activities for you guys. We have blogs, we have articles, we have a lot of resources, either printouts or just, you know, follow these instructions, nothing, you know, with stuff that you have at home. And then we have our at-home learning, which is, you know, what we've been doing during this stay-at-home order, where we have, if you click on it, or when you look at it, you'll have period TV times, right, with TV programs that your kids can watch at a certain time that are tied to certain activities. So it's not just watching, but they're also doing. We also encourage you watch TV and then you go out and do it. So it's not just you're sitting down, you know, for 30 minutes and you're done, but it's always encourage you to go out and do some of the activities. And then we have the Bright by Text learning, where you get activities right to your phone, right? You get them texted twice a week. So you can sign up right now, SoCal, text SoCal to 274448, and you'll be getting, like, sometimes it's just encouraging messages, and it's not just PBS SoCal material, but you'll get other types of activities too. Yes, the activities are available in Spanish as well. So if you're a parent, you know, there's a section on the PBS Parents website where you can see the resources in Spanish. You can also email those out to your parents that need resources in Spanish. And yeah, I think register to the Bright by Text. And then yeah, that's it. Do you guys have any comments, concerns, questions for us that Francis and I can answer?
You can type them on the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, you can do that as well. This particular activity is part of our family math program. So at PBS SoCal, we have a program specifically just to help promote early math with preschoolers, toddlers, the 0 to 5 age group. And so we have tons of other activities as well on our website that are for specifically this group in kindergarten readiness. So we have more there, and hopefully you continue to see more of the family math program. We also do workshops in the community. Because of everything going on right now, we can't do that, but you can find that online.
Yeah, Martha had a really good question. Is this a PBS program, an app, or is it a web page? We have both. You can download an app, right? It's completely free, where you can watch all some of the episodes and videos. That's free. And then the website also has different activities and videos. But the app, it's both. You can do both.
And then
Go ahead, Francis.
Someone asked, quiero preguntar las historias de lectura van a tener más adelante. Thank you so much, Jose. Thank you for joining us. We did earlier in May, last month, we did some story time, and that was great. We had people join with their little ones, and we had a storyteller read math and science stories, and it went really great. We are hoping to restart that in the fall. So vamos a tener, Jose, esas sesiones ya después, como en agosto, septiembre, cuando empiece el regreso a clases.
Yeah, and this is a great segue into talking about a really exciting opportunity that we have for the summer. It's a summer virtual camp for children. So I'll let Francis talk a little bit about that.
Yes, so like I was mentioning, part of that family math program is helping families see that math is everywhere, like you were sharing at the beginning with all the ideas of how you can do math. We know that it is critical for little ones to start developing those early math skills. So we have a camp. It's going to be based on the PBS Kids series Odd Squad. If you haven't seen Odd Squad, it's a really fun show of kids that are agents and they're trying to solve cases. You see math and problem solving. There's also a little bit of science. So we have developed a camp. This usually is in person, but because the situation right now, we're going to be doing it virtually. And so Stephanie and Crystal Stairs, we're so excited to be able to offer this to your families. And so if you're interested, the camp is going to be virtually, it'll be over Zoom. So you will need to be able to connect over Zoom and sort of have some of this functionality. And then the camp is specifically for kids in grades K through 2nd. And this is going to be like 45-minute sessions once a week for 5 weeks. So you'll meet once a week, 5 weeks, to kind of keep the kids learning during the summer. We know that there's lots of research saying with COVID-19, there's some sort of learning loss happening, and there's extensive research on this summer slide. So we think this is a great opportunity to keep kids engaged and having fun learning. The camp is super, super fun. We become agents, and they'll get to join and see other kids. When we did this story time, what we learned is that kids really enjoyed seeing other kids. I think because everyone's home right now and they haven't maybe have a chance to see family or see friends, when they go online and they see each other, they really have a great time. So 45 minutes once a week, and then they'll be doing some math activities. They'll be having some digital games, and they'll also have some activities that they can take home and then do during the week and come back and share. And a lot of those activities are also project-based, so they get to make stuff. And all of this is also things that you can have at home, and that is really easy materials that you can use. So we're super excited. We'd love to ask some questions that Stephanie has prepared to kind of see if you're interested, if this would be something you would want to bring, and then what would be the best time.
Right. Thank you for that, Francis. Yeah, we just want to gauge, again, like Francis said, if this is something that you all are interested in having your children participate in. We're thinking that because they're so young, this is something that you would jump on with your child. Again, it's once a week. There will be some activities that you can do throughout the week until the following session to keep your child engaged, and we'll send reminders that it will be able to include some of the materials that you'll be needing in order to follow along with the activities. So definitely more details to come. We just want to get a better sense of this is something that you all are interested in and what times would work best for you. So it seems like right now it's during the week in the morning. That's great. That's great. And I think this is something that Daniela would possibly facilitate. So now you guys know her and how awesome she is. And I think she put together some of the material for you all. So it's going to be really great. All right, so it seems like during the week in the morning, again, I'm going to close the poll, but more info to come on that. We have your email addresses, so we'll definitely be sending out the presentation for today, along with the links to the videos and some of the information that we shared with you all. Again, before we go, just like last time, we're going to ask if you all can please fill out a survey for us. This is for us to get a better sense of, whether you guys enjoyed these sessions, what you're looking for, if there's something more that we can be doing. So I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat. Give me 1 second. Let me stop sharing my screen. All right, so I will put the link in the chat. It's a Survey Monkey. This is what it looks like. I'll show you guys really quickly. As soon as you get on, it asks if you want English or Spanish. You can click English. And then once you go on to the next slide, you'll choose today's date, which is the 16th. This is a kind of confusing part. It asks what agency hosted this. So you'll just go ahead and click on Crystal Stairs, which is under the C's, and then you can go from there. It asks some information about your zip code, and then it goes into the actual experience of how today was. So again, if you all can please go ahead and fill that out. The link is in the chat. We'll go ahead and send it in the follow-up email that we sent today. And then one more thing before we let you all go. Today we do have a census webinar. Census is something that's really important to us here at Crystal Stairs and for the communities that we serve. Census only happens once every 10 years. It's a way for us to gauge how many people live in specific communities, and the way it helps inform the way that resources are allocated, both financially to things like our local parks and libraries and transportation and all of that. So Isaac has gone ahead and put the link to the census webinar that we are hosting Crystal Stairs later on today in the afternoon. We have a really great presenter. His name's KO. Some of you might know him. He's known as a census guy around here. So it's going to be really great if you all want to jump on. We'll include that in the link, or we'll include the link in the email that we send you all in a bit. Again, thanks everyone. Francis and Daniela, I don't know if you all have anything else to share. We have some our colleagues on the call who I can introduce to you guys later on, but they'll be jumping on for the virtual summer camp. So we'll do that at a different time. I know we've run out of time today. So thank you all again. I don't know if anyone else has anything else they want to share.
Just thank you on our end. Thank you for being here. And it's so nice now that we're not sharing the screen, we can finally see all faces. It's so great to see you. Thank you for spending this morning with us. I have my coffee here. So next time, bring your coffee, and hopefully we can do a little more interaction so we can hear from you too. But thank you for being so active in the chat. And we'd love to see how you take this activity and expand with your own children and with your own students.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll do a clapping reaction. All right, we'll see you all. Have a great rest of your day and rest of the week, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks.